Welcome to the Be That Healing Girl podcast. And today we're going to talk about what a secure relationship actually looks like, even if it feels weird. And I was thinking of 3 ways that we could look at this, but it really turned out to be 6 ways that we can look at it because, I love giving to you. So if you are feeling like you are dating, for example, and you like things to move fast, you fall hard. That's in a dating sphere. This also applies in relationship. If you like things in the relationship to move to the next level fast, like when are we going to move in? When are we going to have a baby? I don't know. I mean, that literally is happening to one of my clients. And when we look at some of those pieces, like you like things to move fast, you fall hard, you have big reactions sometimes to looking back at it, small things, then this is definitely going to resonate with you a lot of what does it actually look like to build a secure relationship? Because if you didn't know, anxious attachment is a form of insecure attachment. So basically you can be secure or you can be insecure, and anxious attachment is one of those ways. So if you feel like you like to move fast, you want things in the relationship to move fast, why can't they XYZ faster, then this is a great episode for you. And I am excited to share. And if you're new here, my name is Claire. I'm a relationship coach. I love helping high performers and high achievers, doctors, lawyers. If you have 15 doors in your real estate portfolio, if you are an academic, you've got it all together on paper, you're climbing the ladder, the career is on point. But what is not on point is how you feel in the relationship. You second guess yourself. You can't trust your intuition, you feel like you're overthinking every single text and replaying the conversation, then sweetheart, you are on the right page, you are with the right person, and I'm really excited to dive into it here with you. And thank you in advance for hitting the 5-star review. It really literally means so much. It is me with this mic and a camera. Honestly, I get really, other than some of you that leave such sweet comments or tell me in the DMs, but really the 5-star review is the best way to say thank you. And I appreciate you for doing that. So before we dive into these pieces, I have a couple updates. One is which is around my ADHD. And if you also didn't know or pick up, I do not edit my podcasts, except for the ones maybe with guests or whatever. But for the most part, these are just like one-shot videos because imperfection is part of what we do here on my page and what I teach. I believe in being imperfect. So if you hear me mess up words and just keep going, that is intentional. It's not an accident. It's part of what I believe healing is. And speaking of which, things that make me talk fast is I am really coming to grips that I maybe did not get diagnosed with ADHD as a young child, because if you are my age in your 40s, you probably did not get diagnosed. It was likely that you got overlooked. And I was talking to a good friend of mine who actually is an expert on burnout and high performers. If you tell me you'd like to hear more about burnout, that was also part of my journey in healing. Happy to have her on. She could speak a lot about it. But we were talking around we probably both likely have ADHD. In fact, when we went to go see Taylor Swift at the Eras Tour in Louisiana, New Orleans, I was dying laughing at both of us because it was a total ADHD all over the place conversation. And I basically, in the middle of brunch, said, my husband, Craig, would kill me right now. He would be so irritated with how our conversation's going because it literally was all over the place. And so we've basically made that joke between us as friends. And she finally went to go see a doctor. She has 2 babies, not babies anymore, but one of them is, I believe, a year plus. And she is not getting a lot of sleep as a mom. And because of that, her ADHD is really acting up. And I believe I'm going through perimenopause. I cannot believe I'm saying that out loud, but I think that's what's happening. And basically, she, in her diagnosis, is really encouraging me to go see a doctor, which I'm totally all about, because big events and big stressors can really make your symptoms even more. So I'm really leaning into, I am looking to get diagnosed. What's the process for that? And what was also so interesting about what she was sharing with me is literally my jaw was on the floor because some of the things that she was talking about were, it felt like she was in my brain, much like I probably would guess you feel like I'm in your brain around anxious attachment. But I'm just really into this journey and I'd love to share more with you. So send me a DM. Are you interested? Is this you? Have you gotten diagnosed? Love to hear all the details. So that's on the it's on the books. It's cooking. Let's dive in. And I was really considering how to bring this up because obviously we had Craig on the podcast and I wanted to talk about, well, what does a secure relationship actually look like? Because it is so easy to fall down a rabbit hole and a trap on social media to feel like we actually know what people are going through or what somebody's relationship looks like. I was even considering one thing that I was mentioning with Craig around friends of ours who recently broke up. And we are listening. I listened to her side, Craig listened to his side. And what we know is that there's two sides and then there's the truth. And what I think, as I was talking about this couple with Craig, I was really careful to open both of ourselves to possibility. We actually don't know what it's like for somebody in relationship. Yes, we're hearing their input, but you don't actually ever know really what's going inside somebody's relationship. And one thing that I think is really important as I teach in one-on-one coaching or in the Healing Girl Gang is how do you actually attune into what's going on inside you, inside the relationship? And I really thought about this episode and some of the ways that I can help point you to, okay, is this actually what it's supposed to feel like? What should I be feeling? And what is a pattern? And what is maybe something that we're told it's supposed to look like on social media versus what's actually real? So I want to talk about, I said 3, but really there's 6 because I want to give you the either or, the this or that. And one of the telltale ways that you're not, so we'll go into what's not a secure relationship. What's not is if you want to move fast. And I will tell you, I was a fast mover. I wanted like the first kiss. Like, in fact, I am not proud of this, but it's just part of our story. This is the true story of how I met Craig essentially. So we met at a baseball game and then I brought him home with me. And I have no judgment against myself and I love myself completely for that decision. I wouldn't have the marriage that I have now if I hadn't done that. But that was a tendency for me to move really fast. And when I look back, when I was full on in my anxious attachment, I was fully dating, I was working on the process and healing and looking internally. I was still early in my healing journey and I tended to move fast because I thought somehow if I could just accelerate the steps, then we would be good and they would fall in love and who could resist? And so to me, it's one of the telltale signs you're not moving towards a secure relationship if you have a tendency to move fast. And if that is true for a insecure relationship, then a secure relationship is going to move much slower, that it's going to move at a slow burn pace. And that doesn't even just I'm not talking just about dating. It's just talking about really getting to know somebody. And I will also tell you, one of my favorite things about marriage and what I love about Craig is I love finding things out at a slower pace and really savoring the things that we enjoy together. It's definitely not fast. It is intentional. It is slow. And let's just even compare it to lovemaking. I mean, we don't want it fast, y'all. Fast, ha ha ha, that's a joke. All right, give me a break. We want things slow. We want things intentional. We need to warm up. All right, so sign number 1 that you're not in a secure relationship, you tend to move really fast. Secure is going to move much, much slower at a much more even keel pace. All right, let's look at insecure attachments. We're going to tend to look at things with a lot of intensity. You're going to want to feel a lot of intensity. And I'll just do these bunny ears. Passion. I need to feel a passion. I need to feel attraction. And we have a propensity to mistake intensity for sincerity. All right, in ourselves, like Is this just an intense feeling or an intense attraction? Is there a lot of hormones? Or do I actually know somebody to a depth of understanding that's safe? So, a lot of times, if we are in our insecure attachment, it's going to look very intense. We want to feel intensity. And when you are actually in a secure relationship, when you're moving towards secure, things are going to feel much steadier, right? There's going to be a consistency. And there is a big distinction between intensity versus consistency, all right? Things are going to feel much more at an even keel. Yes, this goes with slow, but it's also going to be steady, that there's going to be consistency from your end. You're going to be consistent. And one of the things that can also be a downfall, so maybe this is 7 things, less impulsive, right? If we are going fast, we like a lot of intensity, there's going to be impulsivity with that. Steadiness to me is the opposite. There's going to be a much more consistent versus impulsive, where impulse can be very strong, it can be really intense, versus consistency is going to be over time, it's going to be cumulative. All right, insecure attachments are going to react, right? This is also kind of connected to that impulsivity. So there's like a high propensity for reaction. And when you are in secure relationship, what it's actually going to feel like is you're going to want to repair, right? So reactivity is going to be feel very in the moment and very not impulsive, but it's going to feel like a knee-jerk reaction, versus repair is intentional. And I will also say that the super skill in healthy relationships that do feel secure is your ability to repair. Because again, I think the picture that gets painted for us is that, oh my gosh, it's going to be passion and like falling over and save me, Romeo, versus a secure relationship is going to be really slow. It's going to feel steady. There's going to be consistency. And one of the things that I would honestly say that Craig and I have mastered at this point is the ability to repair, to come to a true place for each other, to meet in the middle and repair, because nobody's perfect. And when we can understand that things are not as what they seem on Instagram, that it takes truth, it takes commitment, it takes the ability to see our differences and meet each other, that's repair. And I also just want to give you a physical analogy for this too. I think it's going to be really important, where if you tend to go fast, you like things intense, you are reactive. This is like being on a bike, all right? And you're going down a pretty steep hill and the bike starts to wobble and starts to shake because you're going fast, right? It's an intense incline and your reaction's not going to be that great, right? Okay. So if you are going slower, you're hitting the brakes, right? You're pedaling at a consistent pace, and you know how to gently turn the handles versus overcorrect and then you're just over the top falling over. That's kind of the feeling. So just notice inside yourself if you tend to look for and feel or have a propensity to go too fast, too intense, like there's a lot of big reactions, then that's telling you something. And when we start to understand how to build security, I will just say it is simple, not always easy. When we build an inner sense of security, when we feel safe and secure inside ourselves, that impacts and lifts it. Rising tides raise all ships. So your relationship is going to feel literally different. So let's go ahead and share a little bit of what the girlies in the gang are doing that is simple but not always easy to heal. And again, if you are not familiar with the Healing Girl Gang, this is my community. It's my membership, where one of the cool things is that I get to answer questions, not just on the podcast, but inside the trainings, things like on implementation day, where I show you the how, the tangible tools to heal. Super fun stuff that we've got going on. All right. This is Caitlin, I believe. Caitlin, hi, honey. So my girlfriend and I just broke up because she said she doesn't want it to work on herself and we are too different. She said we had an unhealthy relationship, which I disagree with. I wanted to love her while she goes through this hard time, but she made the decision without me to break up. Even though it was supposed to be a conversation, I just wish she could understand that she doesn't take her anger out on me as much as she thinks she does. I just wish she would let me love her while she figures this out because that's what a relationship is. So, first of all, Caitlin, big hand on my heart to you of experiencing the pain and the discomfort of wanting something and it not getting it. And I'm really hearing you here and your pain around you wanted to make it work and you want to let her know that it's okay and that you want to hold space for her and you just wish you would let let her love her, let you love her. Wow, I'm not editing that. And while she figures this out. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that it's really painful when we want something and it doesn't want us necessarily. And I'm not saying that overall, I mean, she likely this is not an easy decision for somebody. I just want to say, I know it that might feel flippant or it might feel not in depth, but it is just something to understand that this probably wasn't an easy decision for her. It just it strikes me as that. I can't be sure. I don't know everything. I'm not God. I'm not in her body. But when I look at things here that you're saying around you don't think she takes out her anger on you, while that might be true, she ultimately gets to make her own decisions. And that is just the thing that I maybe have been dancing around and saying in a couple moments, but I just want to say this to you honestly, that she gets to make her own decisions. And that's tough because when we have wounds around abandonment or rejection, we would, instead of feeling that pain, we would rather just say, no, it's okay. Like it wasn't that bad. And you can take your anger out on me and not a big deal. When in reality, my invitation would be to be willing to look in the discomfort and go into the discomfort and be okay not being okay. I'll say that again. Sometimes healing is being okay, not being okay. And I say this because I've done my own versions of physical therapy. I've had my own physical ailments, which is a really easy thing. And I don't know if you've ever gone to physical therapy, but those are mean people. I'm kidding. They're very nice people, but my God, if you've ever gone to physical therapy or you've had somebody in your life, like an elderly person, go to physical therapy, they'll complain about their physical therapist because it's hard. Healing is hard. It does mean, okay, this owie, this frozen shoulder or whatever I have, it doesn't want to move. And the job of the physical therapist is to actually get you to a range to get 1 degree better. And what I would invite for you here is the 1 degree better might be really hearing her request. And it might be sitting in the discomfort and really getting curious around the part of you that is so scared around the rejection. What also feels important is, what are you making this mean about you? That's what I would look into, because it's seeming like there's some control or some blame that you'd like to put on yourself, and to avoid that, you'd like to just make it better for her and for you. And that's the sweet spot, honey. That's the part that I would look deeply inside, that I would get curious with and work with. And you're in the Healing Girl Gang, so there's many ways that I can support you in there. There's trainings for that. There's even one coming up next month around self-sabotage. So I know that in my own experience, my own personal experience around feeling so scared around facing my own fears around, man, this feels like I'm not good enough because this person is rejecting me. It is the biggest invitation, and I bless those opportunities because it's really helped me to get to a different place. So be willing to not be okay. Be willing to sit in the discomfort. You're not alone. Lean into the girl gang. And I'm sending you lots of love. Like I'm sending all of you love as you face your fears, as we sit in our discomfort of looking deeply inside, because that's actually how we heal. All right, angels. Love you. Mwah.